Is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Great. I'm very pleased to be here and looking forward to hearing the other presentations as well. At Pixl International, we're seeking to complement the work of others in the field. And there's been a very welcome online development of the publication of all textbooks by the Tanzania Institute of Education. So it's great to have them all available to schools as they wish online. And the excellent learning resources published by SchulDirect and others. There's a wealth of good materials now accessible online. So we're seeking to complement that, not to do the same. So we complement others by working with school leaders and district and regional education officers with the primary focus to help schools improve their exam results. The regions we work in are Rukwa, Morogoro, and Kilimanjaro, and with links with several regions through the Tanzania Development Trust as well. We use technology in several different ways. Obviously, PowerPoints, presentations with schools, and we have them available in English and Kiswahili for local people to use and to share with the schools. And we use them to outline school improvements and leadership development strategies and how to plan for excellence. And we work with primary, secondary, and the A-level schools to the high schools. Now, Tanzania already has excellent published data on school exam results in the Nectar website. And we download and analyze that data to give schools and districts a report of where they are in relation to previous year's results and comparison with other schools in their neighborhood. The analyses includes gender breakdown, so the relative performance of girls and boys can be identified and any issues addressed. And some schools, some regions, the girls outperform boys, some it's the other way around, but the data at least enables schools to interrogate that. We then analyze, schools use the data to set their own targets for improvement in the year ahead. And we then analyze their mock exam results to give them reports of what needs to be done before the final exams if students are to achieve their goals. And we provide electronic revision resources, not the basic textbooks because they've got those already, but revision resources for teachers to help students prepare for exams, fill in any gaps in their understanding as revealed in the mock results. And we make these resources available on an app, downloadable to a smartphone, and on flash drives, which are circulated to schools by ward education officers. And these resources include all the past paper questions and answers from the past 5 years of exams at primary, secondary, and advanced level. And using those questions and answers in the 6 months leading up to the exams is great revision. And we get all the answers from Nectar, where they publish an examiner's report each year, which gives all the questions and answers. So a very useful resource from Nectar, which we've cut and pasted into topics appropriate for each subject. We provide funds for creating revision videos, which are made by ETETA, which was set up in Morogoro region by the regional education officer, with Tanzanian subject teacher who are experts in Morogoro, and these videos are stored on YouTube. So the technological equipment and software we find most useful for teachers, school leaders and education officers to use are their own smartphones. A laptop and projector would be brilliant in every school. I know not many schools have them. Most schools will have a laptop in the office. But if every school had a laptop and projector, it would transform what they're able to offer in their hall to classes. We obviously use PowerPoint for presentation, Excel for analysis and student tracking, YouTube for accessing video presentations on our own website, Pixl International, and on ETETA, and online sites for bespoke maths revision resources through partnership with Memory Maths we have in the UK. So that in a nutshell is what we do and the kind of technology we use to help particularly motivate schools to improve the performance of girls and boys at all the main public exams. Happy to answer any questions on that through the chat or afterwards. Is that okay for now, Janet?
Fantastic, thank you so much. And also, I've just sent you my presentation on WhatsApp. Perhaps you could share it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Right.
So hopefully we'll iron out some of the technical issues.
All right.
And please do ask any questions in the chat. And also, Martin shared some really useful links that I will also circulate. Is it cursed, this presentation?
No, it's on PDF. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Good. I will screen share it. And I think we can start that now. Yeah. Where are we? Yeah, that okay, Janet?
Yeah, fantastic. So next slide, please. All right, so one of our 3 priorities is access to girls' education, which in the rural secondary schools where we support is hugely problematic. Next slide. So this shows the journey that some of the girls have to Ikondo school, which is particularly challenging during the rainy season at the moment. And this can take up to 2 hours each way. Next slide, please. So that's why we support girls' hostels in rural government schools, but we also support with access to technology. You can see here a very small Raspberry Pi computer. This is a school that has no electricity, so it's running off a power bank, and it has a Wi-Fi network in it so that people can connect to it to access downloaded content. Next slide. So the downloaded content such as free resources like African Storybook, KA Lite, etc. And we're going to hear from Learning Equality that have now have a more updated way of packaging this free content. Next slide. Also, shortly we'll hear from Fuse School. They have a huge number of videos, free, on various science topics. I'm in discussion with them about trying to get downloaded versions that can be easily put onto things like Raspberry Pis or SD cards or flash drives and circulated to people, because obviously connectivity is a huge issue. Next slide. So Martin mentioned Shula Direct. I'm hoping that they are here, but they have some customized resources for the Tanzanian curriculum, which is obviously great. Next slide. So Martin mentioned this already. This is actually the SharePoint of Tanzania Development Trust that has past papers and answers and so on for all of the different subjects. This is just an example, and I will share the link. This is freely available to anyone. Next slide. We're also in discussions with African Child Projects and others to try and make it into content for Raspberry Pis and so on. Next slide. With Tanzania Development Trust, we organise various different events, webinars like this one for teachers and others, but also for girls. So last March we had a careers event from some inspiring Tanzanians, women working in aviation and so on. And all of these events are always recorded so that anyone, you can play them to your students later if you wish. Next slide. So this is our YouTube channel. So these are some, so they're all here. Next slide. And some more. Next slide. So obviously connectivity is a huge issue. So we're really delighted to start working with African Child Project and Basic Internet, who've developed a low-cost way of getting internet connectivity to rural schools such as Ikondo and Tunankambuka. So we're hoping that can be rolled out further. Next slide. And they'll be talking soon. So that's just a brief overview of what we've been doing with Tanzania Development Trust. We're really keen to work with anyone trying to work in this field. So if you would like to know more or have any suggestions or questions, then those are my contact details. Thank you very much. Thank you, Martin. So I'm hoping that, I know that Robert from ACT is here. So perhaps you can go next, Robert. I think we need to make him a co-host if we haven't already. Yes, the exam papers, I'll put the link in the chat very shortly and also circulate it to everyone. So, right, welcome, Catherine. So Robert, are you ready? Are you able to present? You're muted.
Yes, okay, there. I was trying to unmute and I was having a challenge, but
sorry.
No problem. So are you going to share the slide or should I share?
Can you do it?
Let me see. I think it's okay. Should be able to. Yes, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So yeah, hi everyone. So good to be with you here this evening. Okay, I'll try to get my slide so fast. So introducing myself, I'm Robert Malfi, the Director of Affordable Computers and Technology for Tanzania. We're based in Moshi, which is where our head office is, but we do have a branch in Mwanza. But also we're working with a special program called YES, which we're working with youths in different districts to reach out and support schools mainly and educational projects as a whole. We have, ideally NCTT is actually, we engage youth in empowering education institutions in setting up sustainable computer labs. And we are proud to say up to date, we have over 50,000 learners who've benefited through the projects that we've worked with countrywide. And this is through over 500 schools that we've put computers in. So be it a proper lab with computer desktops, some with laptops, some with all other innovation of technology that we use, even thin client servers and stuff that we work with. And over 1,500 teachers trained. We have a special outreach training program for teachers. And we do this in conjunction with the district education offices who identify and share with us. We work with schools and we get teachers to register for a training program. We avail learning resources, mainly laptops, which teachers can use. And they take a basic computer course for 1 month. They get certified, and over that, we really hope they become champions on really bringing technology to school and in empowering learning as a whole. As I talked earlier a bit about the youth program also, so while we're working with people now empowering youth, they become sort of franchise, but they also run their own business in the different districts. And this enables us to reach out to schools, to reach out also with resources, supplying of computers, laptops, etc. You see one of the model computer labs. We normally do different designs, but this is just some pictures showing the labs that we've worked with. number, some dated as back as since we started, which is around 2008. And we've done quite a lot of different schools with computer labs. Not only, we've also gone innovation, like we had a few years back, working with Brick, which is a company in Kenya. They have what they call a Kio kit. And it's an innovation box that carries about 40 tablets that one can carry even to places that don't have electricity. And this box is, you can use it somewhere else to charge all the tablets and then bring to a class and be able to use for the children to learn. So you can see a picture there of the children learning through the tablets. All of the time, we always try to think innovatively, really. And we know Tanzania is a developing country. There's still so many challenges with the education system, from teachers having classes, having so many things. So the less costly the projects are, the better. So we've given some examples there, rather than working with newer computers, which is 5 to 10 times more expensive than a refurbished computers, and which do equally as good. So we have partners in the West, Close the Gap International, RDC, some of the partners that get us refurbished computers at far much subsidized cost. Earlier on, I think Janet and your team were talking about using Raspberry Pi. That's also another thing. But both as Rachel server, this is where content, rather than investing in so much expensive, also costly internet cost with Raspberry Pi and offline content. And they can, the users or the learners can browse the content just as much as they're browsing over on the online. We also propose solutions like where, of course, a number of schools in Tanzania, we have a big challenge with the numbers. We have a lot of children. So really having resources enough for each user, but innovation like having just a projector in a classroom with educational content that can be projected even in a room full of children still work as good as well. Yes. So what we do basically is we offer affordable computers to schools, so cost is a big issue, but we also look around quality ICT support services. So that's really important. They have to make sure the resources to supply are supported and also lasting, to give as much, to bring as much impact as possible. But training, we know, also is essential. So once you train the teachers and when you have deployed the resources, it's important so that they can utilize whatever resources that are available. Working with you, that about the YES program, but we go all the way as well, where we ensure the environment matters, that these computers don't get ramped up. So we have partners that we work with. So for computers that get old, we either upgrade them, and whatever we take back, we work with partners to ensure they are recycled in an environmentally friendly way. Most of these are impact projects and mostly social, so we don't really make a margin, but for us to be able to operate, we have also to sell these equipments sell equipments to the general public for profit. So we do have available all the resources: desktop, laptops, tablets, smartphones, projector, for all the community at large. So the schools we work with, also the teachers become also the market, and all the community members around as well. Okay, so yeah, our goal is a bit ambitious, but we're really looking at least reaching 1/3 of schools in the country, definitely working with other stakeholders by 2030. We still have a long way. But yes, it's a noble cause. We really are passionate about it. We want to really see, I think on our end is really making, setting the foundation. When resources are available, all the others, when it comes to content, to value add, and so many things, which we see a lot of stakeholders in the field that are working in that area, we can all complement each other on this work and together. So yes, that is in short, and I can be reached. That is my email address and also my phone number. I'm happy, as I was hearing Janet, I don't know whether there were some others I joined a bit late, there are some of the best, that I think there's so much we can do together. I think there is so much power in sharing, in connecting. We had the other day connecting with some companies who, we're trying to get, if you can content offline that can really get reach out to schools. There's so much potential we can work on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Robert. There's a few questions for you in the chat, but in the interest of time, I think we can move on to Catherine, if you're able to unmute yourself and share your presentation.
Okay, sure. So hi everyone. My name is Catherine Richard Kimambo. I am from African Chat Project. So I will share my screen. Okay. So there's a permit needed, I'm told here.
You should be okay, because I think I made you co-host. Yeah, it's working.
It's working?
Oh, okay.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so as I explained earlier, we are African Chat Project. We are an NGO that was founded on 2019, and up to date, we have been conducting different projects around school connectivity. So most of our projects are centered around how do we have learning equality, how do we have affordable internet services around rural areas, how do we have students in rural areas having the best education materials that can be accessed online, compared also same as students in urban areas. So the picture you're seeing on your left, this was when we would travel to, if most of you I think have worked in Tanzania, there's a region where it's mostly known as the Maasai land. It's like one of the most hard to connect regions in Tanzania. So this is one of our success stories, I would say, so far. So who is African Chat Project? As I said before, our focus is bridging the digital divide and bringing internet access to communities in Tanzania and building digital societies. So our programs have been around technology, education, policy, and regulation. Why so? Because we believe if there are no friendly policy and regulations, then the education sector and the technology sector, which are still growing, cannot be equally distributed or equally implemented around Tanzania. So that's our focus areas. And these three focus areas, as you can see, they interlink around one another. I will show you how in the next slide. So our focus areas, as I said, in policy and regulation, we're mostly based on advocacy, lobbying, and influencing. How are we adapting and creating friendly policy and regulations? So we have different stakeholders meetings on how can we create a common voice around school connectivity. So the picture you are seeing was the meeting with the Minister of Education when he was launching the program that we had in Kilimanjaro recently, and we connected 50 schools to internet. So around education, what we do, we connect schools to internet. We make sure that students can be able to access educational content online. So the content that you see that Shule Direct provides, maybe Vodacom provides, or any other content creator provides, we try to see how students can access those contents and be able to use the learning materials to change their results in general. And for the side of technology, how can our society do away with technology? Somehow technology feels a big part of our daily lives. It's something that we cannot avoid. So we try to see how education and technology can be used together in terms of learning for our children. So the school connectivity project came around 2019 when we were speaking, before the corona pandemic. And then we had different discussions with the government on how can we have schools connected to internet. And I proudly say this is not a one stakeholder project. This has been a multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder project. We've had partnership from MNO, the mobile network operators. They have been providing us with internet bandwidth as donation or grant for these schools for a period of 1 year. We've had partnerships with academic institutions, the like of University of Dar es Salaam, University of Dodoma, University of Oslo, in Norway, together with Dar es Salaam Institute of Technology. The partnership with the universities has assisted us in having their students helping us with connectivity. So the people you're seeing who are wearing the red shirts, these are the students from universities, because the program is growing yearly. even monthly, and we are having maybe, let's say, 300 schools that are coming up on the pipeline. So if we are to deploy this program at a shorter time, we have to have a lot of manpower. That's why we partner with a lot of people. So we also partner with content creators. We partner with people who provide digital skills, to also be able to ensure that it's not only access that we are providing. We also go along with content, skills, and also we try and see how we can bridge the device gap. Because previously, when you speak of connectivity, people only would think of access, but also device is an issue in most rural areas. And we have partnered with Vodacom Tanzania Foundation, who has given us computers, tablets, projectors to donate to these schools. And so what school connectivity, we have 4 key performance indicators. For this program to be successful, so we divided the program in 4 key performance indicators. These are the ones that ensure we are looking across all the program from all angles, I would say. So the first key performance indicator speaks of connecting schools to internet. So in this key performance indicator, we try and see how every school can be connected to affordable internet. How are we reaching schools in rural areas? So this intervention speaks of everything about connectivity and the technology used. And then we have another key performance indicator that says access to educational content. So in this indicator, we try and see how we can partner with different content providers to be able to provide content to these schools. So the 4th indicator speaks of skills, because also skills gap is also an issue. And we have tried and see how we can partner with different stakeholders, the likes of Cisco Academy, the likes of Microsoft, to be able to provide the skills that are needed. And the last indicator is stakeholders engagement, because we believe for the school connectivity project to be a successful, it's not a one person's responsibility. So we have to have a common voice around connectivity of schools. That's why we speak of stakeholders engagement. We engage everyone from the government agencies to mobile network operators, for all of us to sit on one table and have a common voice around the connectivity. So the technology that we use, as I previously explained, we use devices such as LTE kit, the one you're seeing on the picture. This device is for remote locations. You can use this device, you put a SIM card that we get from the MNOs, which has a 50 GB bandwidth for a month. And then from this device, it allows approximately 50 to 100 users, could be more if the internet is strong in that area. So what we do, we measure the network strength with an app we call Network Cell Infolite, and it shows us the Wi-Fi strength of the nearest tower. And then we can be able to find the line of sight and connect the device close to the line of sight. And then we have the distributor, which we call the LNCC, the one you're seeing at the bottom. So with this, we are able to distribute. It has like 5 ports. And the first port is connected to the LTE. The second port is connected to the Raspberry Pi. And then the other ports can be used for direct connection with the computers that the teachers have. And then the other device, the other technology that we use, we are very keen on safeguarding. So around safeguarding, we try and see how we can do content filtration and filter different contents that can be accessed by students, because the biggest fear from the Ministry of Education when we had different meetings with them was how can we make sure that our students are safe online. So we had to really sit and see how we can do content filtration through creating whitelists and blacklists. So the whitelists are the sites like Shule Direct, any other sites that students can go in and access content for learning. And the blacklists are those that students cannot access. So whenever a student wants to go maybe and access something, let's say pornography, they cannot access through the network that we have. And then there's monitoring and troubleshooting. Whenever we want to add anything, any layer upon the internet, it's easy for us to do it from remotely. And we are able to track everything that happens in the school through the monitoring and troubleshooting innovation. And then the third one is our device capability. Since we have the access to the device remotely, then we have the capability of adding different whitelist and blacklist without disturbing the network in general. So the freemium and the premium model, we create something we call voucher system. So as I explained before, we have the whitelist where anyone can access these sites for free. But we create the premium model where where teachers and only teachers get this type of a code. We call it voucher, and they can go to the internet, and the internet opens up, and they can access anything from YouTube videos to any sites where they want to go. So this has been, I would say, a success story to us, or a best practice, because now we are rest assured that students can access only this to the internet to this level, and teachers can access to that level. So about training, as I explained, so the program has been going in 2 different phases. The first phase, we did a pilot with 10 schools only. And the second phase, which is now ending, we've connected 50 schools. And now we are going to a third phase where we are looking forward to connect, starting October, we are looking forward to connect 300 schools. And now is when we are doing rounding up of partnerships, people who want to partner in this third phase, as we are finishing up feasibility study of the phase. But we are also trying to see how we can create different training manuals, because before we had no any training manuals. We just we are using training manuals that we are offered by TIE, Ifahamu. They are training courses from Cisco. So we want to see how we can also create that and have the training manual that can be used to train teachers and students in this phase. But we're also keen on courses like cybersecurity and digital and I would say cybersecurity and courses of that sort, so as students can be well protected online. So close to that, I think this is all about the courses that we offer. I think also Ifahamu, if you know Ifahamu by Vodacom, they have variety of courses, curricula and extracurricular for students and teachers and anyone in general who wants to access content. So we've partnered with Vodacom, and we are advocating for their portal to be used in schools, since it's a one-stop center where you can get many other portals in it. But also we try and see how courses from Cisco and others from Microsoft can also be embedded. But recently we've had a grant from Microsoft for nonprofit that has allowed us to have like a total of 25 licenses that we can use as beneficiaries in our schools in general. So the biggest part of our program, since the whole goal of the program is to increase performance by 5% annually. And so in order for us to prove that we are really increasing performance, it is through our partnerships. And I would say that we have an item that we call the Digital Friends. So the Digital Friends, these are our ambassadors on the ground. These are the NGOs that, because we are present in 20 regions, but our headquarters are in Dar es Salaam. So we have Digital Friends on the ground who can monitor and evaluate everything happening in the school, who can send us real-time data of the skills, of contents that students are consuming, of anything that is needed in terms of data. But also we have different reporting tools that can report our progress on the ground. And then we have different monitoring tools. We have different evaluation tools, that evaluation including baseline evaluation, quarterly evaluation, annual surveys that are done. And we have activity tracking forms that track all the activities that happen in the schools. So also on the side of monitoring evaluation, how we do it, we before we go to any school, we conduct a feasibility study. The feasibility study shows us the network strength of the school, the status of the computer room, if there's any, if a school has computers, what generation of computer is that? Is there an ICT teacher? It's just like a long list of checklists that are needed before we say a school is fit for connectivity. And then there's activity tracking form. So this is when we go to a school, and then after that, after when we leave, we teach the ICT teacher how to fill this form for the activities that happen after we are gone. And then there's quarterly assessment tools where we assess the quarter results of the schools, including the performances of the schools and how that plays out in the big picture. And then there's baseline survey. This is as soon as we arrive in the school, so we capture the data of how the computer lab was before and after we've left, what have we added in terms of value in the computer or in the school. So this is baseline survey. So it's also the status of the school in general. So there's train tracking form. This is after every ICT class is conducted. We want to know what was taught, were there any challenges, what were the lesson learned from the ICT teachers, also from the students. So this is the training tracking form. And then we have different evaluation tools that are used. So these are the interventions that I explained before, number 1 to number 4, that ensures the program cuts across different areas from access to skills, to content, to stakeholders engagement. And then the impact so far, we've reached 40K beneficiaries. We've trained 150 teachers, ICT teachers. And then we have reached 59 schools so far in 12 regions, and we are going to reach 300 in the near future. We've donated 440 devices. This includes computers and tablets and routers. And also we are still seeking for partners who can donate more devices because the need is still growing as the more number of schools is growing. So the devices are never enough because we only give 10 computers per school and 6 tablets, but still the number of students to computer ratio is 150 from our previous survey, and it's still growing as we go. So to sum up this,
Catherine, are you still there?
and our partners. Yes, so there was a call, sorry.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm finishing up. I'm speaking of the partnerships. So we've clustered our partnerships in 3 clusters. We have partners in connectivity. These are partners that assist us in connectivity, including routers, donation of routers, including the competence centers. These are the DITs, the University of Dar es Salaam, people who assist us with the technical side of the program, I would say. And we have partners in content. These are the IFAHAMU, the Shule Diets, the TIE, anyone who assists us with content and skills, we've placed them as partners in content. And then we have partners in implementation. These are the university students, these are the digital friends, these are anyone who assists us in implementing the project in one way or another, the government agencies. So looking forward to having more partnerships as we grow. So thank you. These are our contacts if you want to get in touch. We are looking forward for more partnerships that can come from this meeting, and we are welcome to diving deep into the discussion about learning equality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. That's fantastic, and it's been brilliant working with you, particularly with Ikondo, and I think we can hear from Alpha soon about his experience at Ikondo. So next, if we could, and we're also hoping to connect Tumaini Open School very soon. So I'm hoping that Ezekiel can now speak. Ezekiel, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, Janet, thank you very much.
Okay, and Martin, are you able to share your screen with the presentation I shared via WhatsApp?
Yes, I'll set that up now.
Thank you very much.
Yes, can you see my screen? I have shared my screen.
Oh, you've shared your screen.
You are sharing from...
So it's okay, you can do it, that's fine. Yes, you're on slide 2 at the moment.
Okay, and are you able to see my screen?
Yes, but you're on slide 2.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ezekiel Kassanga, the director of Tumaini Open School in Tabora. Yeah, basically Tumaini Open School, I can say started in the year 2019. And The operation actually started in 2020, and we are having a center in Tabora that is enrolling these teen mothers who are outside of the public school system because of pregnancy. Today, actually, I would like to share something about how the technology can help these alternative education pathways in Tanzania, because actually we are using the technology, and as you may know that the open schools actually are operating on a different way actually from these regular schools. Most of these schools have shortage of facilities and the So it's like with the technology, especially the computer technology, actually, we are able to fix some of the challenges. And today, actually, I would like to share what Tumaini is doing with regards to the use of technology. It is a new school, as I have said earlier, but now we have computers, and with the computers, we use them actually for the teaching and learning processes. That means teachers are using the computer technology in preparation of the learning materials for the students, in the preparation of the notes, the teaching notes, the handouts, and even for accessing the materials which are needed for the students. And on the side of the students, though these are teen mothers and they have little computer knowledge, it's like what we are doing is first to train them on how to use a computer, just for application for them to be able to access different materials. And so I can say we have the ebooks, and also we have the online and the offline materials, including those teachers' notes and handouts. Also, we have audio and video materials just for the students to access. And the students actually are accessing these materials, sometimes on assistance of the teachers and sometimes by themselves. As you can see on the screen on your right, these are some of the girls in our main library. So they are doing the discussion by themselves. So they are able actually to access the materials from the computers. And because of the internet challenges, like most of our materials are offline materials. Also, we are having the Raspberry Pi, which is also connected to the computers. And these are used by both teachers in the preparation of the teaching materials, as well as the students. And we have also projectors. We're using projectors at our school. And we have one, for instance, from Affordable Computer, from Robert company. So with the projector, for instance, you find that it is cheaper compared to the normal or the regular teaching method, because teachers, they can just use one laptop and the projector instead of having maybe the chalks and use the chalkboards or the whiteboard and the board mark, which are also expensive. Also at our open school, actually, we are having the database systems, both online and offline. And this is just for students' records. For instance, we are using the AAM digital online system. And this is just for students' record keeping, both registration, attendance, and the other important information of the students. As I said earlier, that our school is enrolling these teen mothers. So with the digital online system, for instance, we are able to keep record of the students in terms of, for instance, the number of children the teen mother is having, and the parents' commitments, those kind of information, which actually are very important for our girls. So you can see on the screen that is the screenshot from the AAM digital system that we are using. And with that, it's like we are able to keep all those records of the girls with including the age, the attendances there, the number of children, as you can see, the girls are having. So for instance, here you can see, this is Horo, is one of our students. And here is a quote from Horo. She says, the use of computers is the solution. It has overcome the shortage of books in our main library. As a young mother, it has given me a second chance. It has increased my confidence to do well in my exams and achieve my dream of becoming a lawyer. Horo wants to become a lawyer, but what actually Horo testified is the way the computer technology has helped us actually to solve the issue of shortage of books. Because with the computer technology, we have a number of ebooks whereby these girls can access and utilize them. Yeah, so we are Tumaini Open School based in Tabora, and it is a new school. It is still under construction, and we are helping these teen mothers, as you can see on the screen, and some of these teen mothers are also coming with their babies at the center. So thank you very much for having me at this meeting. And actually, I have enjoyed especially learning from affordable computer technology as well as Kathleen. It's like we need those, for instance, cyber securities for the girls. It is very important. So warmly welcome to partner with the Tumaini School in Tabora. Thank you very much. My contacts are there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ezekiel. Fantastic. Really good to hear about that. And there has been a couple of questions around the reliability of the internet, which is obviously still a huge issue, even with the connections that ACP and Catherine are putting in. So I'm hoping that Laura can talk about downloaded content that can get around this issue. Laura, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay, so if you can share your screen and talk about learning equality and Calibri, which is a way of getting free content in low connectivity contexts. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Laura and I'm with the Learning Equality team. And thank you for the opportunity to share a few minutes about Calibri and how you might use it. So we started with KA Lite in 2012, which provided offline access to all of Khan Academy's resources and exercises. And now as of 2017, we are no longer actively developing KA Lite and are now focused on Calibri, which builds on what we started with KA Lite and is a more comprehensive tool to support offline first teaching and learning. So some of the key benefits are that it's offline first. So we want impact for low resource situations where access to the internet is not guaranteed. So making sure that Calibri works offline is key. And we've designed it to work on a variety of hardware from desktops to mobile phones and tablets. It can be run on virtually any machine, including Raspberry Pis. And this allows for use in different kinds of pedagogical models. So Calibri provides access to a curated and openly licensed educational content library that's available in a variety of languages, and that's both academic and non-academic subject areas and grade levels, but we are primarily focused on K-12. I pulled a few examples that are relevant for the Tanzania context. So of course we have Khan Academy in both English and Swahili, but then we also have pulled in other fantastic content creators that have made interactive science simulations, math and science flexbooks, life skills content, a lot of this is geared at secondary learners and above, but then we also have multimedia storytelling and storybooks for younger learners. Here is one example from PhET, which has interactive science simulations where you can actually click and interact with the content directly. And this could be great for giving learners a hands-on experience about energy alongside a video or a more traditional lesson. So then what happens is that relevant sets of materials can then be seamlessly imported into the offline platform. We also have a tool called Colibri Studio, which allows for the addition of your own learning materials as well as the reorganization of existing materials in our library to a set of curricular standards. So those materials can then be updated from the internet, from a USB thumb drive, or from another device over a local network. And then these materials can be accessed by learners offline without the internet. So they can watch videos, read documents, play games, interact with simulations, and practice using exercises with real-time feedback. Within the platform, the learners can also be grouped into classes and assign lessons and quizzes by an educator as well. And then if they want, educators can also track the learner progress. They can identify learners who are struggling and may need additional support and make use of tools that can allow for further differentiation and personalization of learning. So some of the access models that we have seen for Colibri include a self-paced learning model and a stationary computer lab, a rotation model with roving servers with tablets, a hybrid offline and online model in a flipped classroom, and then also a self-paced learning setting in a zero-rated model, or basically a model over mobile phones. So just to give you an idea of what some of the possibilities are. And that is all I have for my intro. Our products have benefited over 6 million learners now in over 200 countries and territories. And if it looks like Colibri could be a good fit for your setting, or you want to get in touch, this is how you can find us. We have a link to download Colibri directly. We have a demo site. I can paste these links in the chat if they're helpful. And then you can also email us to get in touch.
Fantastic, thank you so much. I mean, certainly we've used, I think, some of these resources like KA Lite and PhET with schools previously, and I think they were very, very impactful. So one of the things we've started talking to with Catherine and Robert is developing a package of resources that could potentially go into Raspberry Pis that are being rolled out, or SD cards that are being rolled out. So if anybody here is interested in getting involved in that discussion, then please let us know, because we're just getting started with that. So thank you, that's fantastic. And I think we have one more presentation, which was from Jifundishi, which I believe Sam is going to do. So Sam, are you able to unmute yourself and present? Sam, are you there? Anybody from Jifundishi going to present?
Okay, I'm there as well, but maybe is there anyone else after this? So, hello, Janet.
Yeah, I don't know. I've made Sam a.
I mean, I can present, but so just a minute. If there's somebody else, can somebody else start, and then I can try and reach him? If not, then I'll do the presentation myself, because I do have it. Okay, I have a message from Sam, I'm not sure. Okay.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for you to set that
It's
up.
saying, can you give him rights? Sam,
Yeah,
Sam.
I did. I have.
Okay, because he's just texted me that he's having a challenge connect because he's saying I don't have the rights to unmute, something like that. So
I've done it now, I think.
okay, maybe we can try. If not, if you do have the presentation with you, Janet, from the Fundisha.
I do. Sam is a co-host, so he should be able to. I'm going to send it to Martin. But while we're waiting for that, I have a question for you and Catherine. So Catherine, currently, I think the Raspberry Pis that are in the routers going into the schools that you're connecting, what content do they have currently?
Okay, so in this phase that has passed, we didn't use Raspberry Pi. I think it's now that we want to explore, as you said before, and the discussion that was ongoing, so as we can download all contents and then put them offline. But in the passing phases, we've used content creators who are basically online, the likes of Shule Direct and Ifaham. So we haven't had the offline version of the content, which I think would be a game changer this time around, because once the internet is down, then nothing can be done in the schools if they can only access online. But if we have the offline solution, then all is well.
Yes, absolutely. And I know, Robert, you've been putting in a lot of offline content already into many Tanzanian schools. I mean, what have you found has been the most popular content at secondary level?
Yes, we've tried several. First, we had really a collection ourselves of a number of, when we started out, presentations, some past papers and stuff that we just loaded into computers that we get to secondary schools. But then when we started also getting, in some cases we work with where we have a server and we can also share the content. But we've worked on both. So of course we've worked with, so far I'd say Rachel server is sort of the best. It's because of its capacity, it has you can actually upgrade the disk to be from 500 gigabytes to even 1 terabyte, and you can get as much as possible. So Rachel server also contained all the Khan Academy, also like KA Lite, as Laura was saying a bit earlier. All those content have been quite relevant and very useful in schools. Of course, Raspberry Pi as well. We've done that in several schools. What I can say is that there's been a lot of content which are quite relevant, but there's also been a question around local content, especially in alignment to the curriculum. So if you recall, we had discussion in the forum that we've set up. If we can even get TIA and Shule Direct, I know they do charge, but if they have a way of at least giving some of this content, I don't know, so at some affordable cost at least, or something like that. But yes, if we can get as much as free local content, they are quite available. I was seeing when Laura was presenting also Ubongo Kids in the past, and I know Ubongo Kids also have been very open and willing to really also partner with the content as well. So yeah, if we can, I do understand. I think the challenge, of course, is the local, I mean, people who compile this local content to invest a lot to get things going, and they probably want to have their return on investment. But at least having, if not some part, or maybe probably at a small fee to start with, that's really quite affordable for schools. I think that is where we still have a challenge. But yeah, I think we're getting there. If we get a number of other people to come on board, if like TIA are willing to give their offer for free or something, like to make it downloadable, because they have great content, but they have to be online. You have to be connected, and that's the challenge with it. So yeah, it's bringing that offline content, as Catherine's saying, and having it sort of in whether it's a Raspberry Pi, whether it's in a server of some sort, anything that makes it accessible offline. I think that is a way to go. Thank you.
Yeah, but also I would add on to that, because in the previous phases when we worked with Shule Direct, they installed their content offline in the 10 schools pilot, and there was an option for teachers to create their content locally. So for teachers to create content locally, and these contents can be accessed by the students in their school network. And so I'm thinking this time around, if we can duplicate some of that idea, so as we are able to inspire teachers to create their own content as well, because they don't want to only feed them content. I believe they also have content that they want their students to feed up on. So we could have a platform where they can create their own content as well. I'm sure they have a desire to do that, but the infrastructure is not yet in place. So we've been having that a discussion around that to see how we can enable them to also do that as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And if anybody else has got any ideas about other content, particularly that's customized for the Tanzanian Tanzanian schools, then please do let us know. I know, thank you, Martin, you've already said that we can package any of the Pixl resources into this, so that it's accessible via Raspberry Pis, SD cards or whatever.
Sure.
So that's fantastic. And I'm sure there's other people that have got content that can also be shared. And if people are interested in getting involved in trying to, collate some of these materials, then please do get. All right. So there's a question about can you create an internal network and cache a lot of the information as opposed to downloading it on an SD card? I don't know if, Robert, you want to answer that?
Sorry, what was the question about?
It was about creating an internal network and caching the information. I guess that's what you're doing, isn't it, with your servers?
Yes. I think basically that's it, and should be really able, as long as I said again, the content being offline. With Rachel server, you can they gives you an option to upload content that you have. I think there was a bit of challenge with the Raspberry Pi, but I think one of my colleagues say they are now able to load some more content into it as well. So basically, once all these are loaded, that's really easy to share. There is another model which again was advised by Rachel Direct, and that is buying what they call the network access device, NAS device, and basically it's a storage device but can be accessible through the router or through a cabling or network or something like that. So when you have a computer, now it's so easy. You find a wireless router. Even with desktops, you can get what they call the wireless dongles, and you have it in each desktop, and then it acts just like a laptop, and you can access. It's a network storage device, a Rachel server, and you get content straight away without any challenge. So yeah, so I think it's a matter of just once we compile as much content as possible, loading or getting the tech, and we're more than happy to advise whenever needed on how to do this with our team. So yeah, that should be easy to do it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Catherine, did you want to add anything to that? Oh yes, you did.
So I have I have a question directed to the first presenter. I think his name is Martin.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to know the challenges he's faced, I think, in acquiring the data around results, the internal results, the mock, could be midterm results from schools, because this is our first time with the program where we want to see how we are adding up to the performance of the schools by 5%. So I really want to learn from his experience and maybe see if there's an area where we can work together on just learning from their end and seeing how we can adapt some of the things that have been successful from their end, because they're supposed to do an annual performance review at the end of the year and seeing how our program has impacted the performance of the schools in general. So just a little bit of your setbacks, maybe best practices on how you've been operating.
Yes, of course. Obviously, all the national exam results are available from Nectar, but the mock exam results, it depends if you have a good relationship with the district and regional education officers, because they're the ones who collect them from schools, and often they will have regional or district mock exams, and they collect all the data. And in Morogoro and in Moshi, they've asked us to assist them with the analysis of that. So when they send Excel sheets of the data, we're able to compare the exam results from the previous year with the mock exam results, and give some reports that indicate for the schools what they would need to do to enable the students to move from their mock exam performance to the results that they really want to get. But you can only get that data either from a school individually, if they're happy to share it with you, or with the district or regional education officer if you have a relationship with them and they're happy to share it with you. So that's where we get the data from. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So how do you go about analyzing it? Like, what has been the best? Do you have any tools that you use, or it's just by comparison?
We use Excel, and so we're pretty swift at being able to line up all the results and sort them by all the different categories you can set up on an Excel sheet. And so for example, a 50 school spreadsheet, you could sort that in an hour and produce reports in another hour that enable those schools to have some feedback. So it's just through Excel, as long as you've got it downloaded in soft form.
Okay. So yeah, I'm looking forward to engaging further with you in the discussion in that area. So as at least we get to understand how do we do it, because we're supposed to start that, I think, in the end of the year. So looking for your assistance, I think, rather in
Yes.
that.
Yeah, do please get in touch with me directly, and I'd be happy to share ideas with you.
Thank you, Martin.
Thanks.
Brilliant, thank you. So please do keep the questions coming in the chat. And Robert, you're going to talk about Jifundishe?
Yes, okay, unfortunately, my colleague Sam is having technical issues, so I will do the presentation myself.
Okay.
So I'll share the screen and see if we can. Okay, yeah. Okay, hope you can see the screen.
Yeah, I can see. We can see your WhatsApp.
Oops.
No, now we can see it. It's fine.
Okay, there it is. Okay. Thank you. So I'll share about Jifundishe just fast. I think I've already introduced myself, but also I'm the chairman of a local-based community initiative called Jifundishe, which basically means teach yourself in Swahili. This was started back with Deborah Kelly, who's now based in the US. We've been realizing in the community, we happen to be staying together, that if we need for the community to have places to go to learn or to get resources, learning resources. So it started really basically as a library, but it's really grown up to be a real community center. And the programs that are running there will be totally, maybe for some, don't really look at it as a library more, that become now a big community center. And the biggest, I think, kickstarting point was because once the library became active and a number of young people were coming to learn, there were those who finished Form 4, didn't do well, they wanted to resit for their exams. Are you all aware that in Tanzania, you can have an opportunity to resit if you don't do well in a subject, and you can redo it and do better and go back and redo the exams. But then they may not be able to afford going back to school. So they could come to the center. We ensure there were resources that were relevant for their learning. And this developed to be a very great program now, currently called the IS program. The Independent Study Program helps students to excel through alternative information education, informal education, and prepare all students to prepare all students for national exam. There are valuable classes to help. We do give a little support with teachers, but basically we ensure that there are as many resources as available as possible. And from it, we've seen the program has really succeeded, and we see about 85% pass rate. We've noted about 85% pass rate from 2017 to 2021. Remember, these are young people who didn't really have a chance, and they come to informal sector, and they're really doing, they learn, they get the resources, they are focused, and they do quite well in the exams. However, we've deployed technological resources to help out. Sorry, to move this. Yes. We recognize the importance of technology to improve students' learning. So Jifundisha uses digital learning resources. We have computers that students are taught basic computer skill, enabling them to use basic programs. We have installed an internet tower to ensure stable internet connection, whereas students can access learning materials from Google and YouTube, as opposed to only depending on what is being taught by teachers in class. Secondary and college students have been the biggest beneficiaries, as the experience shows. And so far, we've witnessed increased good performance in national exam and increased self-learning attitude among students. We have installed offline content, again, Rachel Pai, as I mentioned earlier, for students to access learning materials, even when the internet is not there due to electricity. And then we also had e-learners, e-readers. These are just more like tablets, but again, they're really meant to be loaded with books and different books. Our students from primary level to secondary level have access to e-readers, in which e-reader is filled with more than 200 different books, from textbooks to storybooks. Yes, of course, in addition to this, we have, that is just one program. We have entrepreneurship program for the community, people in general, and we've seen young women particularly really very interested in this. And we also use the opportunity to teach other keys, impactful information like reproductive health, hygiene, receive reusable sanitary, especially for girls, and then career counseling and development, and even sometimes mental health counseling. We engage volunteers, so sometimes we get different from different areas, and they come with different skills, and they use the center as an opportunity to share their skills or the different expertise they have for the community members. Yes, of course, our goal is to really provide effective programs that bring results in the community. And we are saying we are community driven. We really try and learn what the community needs. In growth, to make sure that girls are reaching, because again, our focus is girls, more selectivity as well, reaching academic and emotional levels to ensure success. And in sustainability, getting more funding opportunities for the foundation goal to continue and grow. So we offer numerous services to help our cause succeed to our patrons as well. Maybe in general, the testimonials, like you can see some of those from different also, be it volunteers of different programs. So like we hear from Joyce Scarf saying everybody who comes in contact with the foundation is empowered, student visitors, women. You know, we hear from Extraordinary Journey, which is a different organization that regularly bring in volunteers. We've seen the foundation impact on community with our own eyes, and are tremendously excited that they have found a way to share their great work with our clients with the half-day visits. So they do half-day visits done by Extraordinary Journeys. Yeah, so and you know, and different testimonies that you can hear from what we do. So there are so many programs. I will just talk about that. The IS program, we have what we call advanced level. We have, of course, scholarship programs, which is benefiting both from secondary level to higher, higher learning programs. We do have, as I said, women programs. At some point, we also facilitated the union of women to come and do a lending program where they'll give them seed capital and they can manage themselves and are able to help other women to develop different businesses. Yeah, and we've engaged. We've had really a big impact with volunteers coming in. We find that it's a very big source that they bring in the different expertise, they bring skills, but more connection, and also that help us to connect with funding and be able to do our programs. The library is accessible for free. There's no charge, and all those also taking programs in IS and in other programs are totally done for free. In actual sense, we reach a point for those who want to resit for their exams and they require registration fee. We sometimes fundraise as long as they've shown their interest and have effectively used the library. We also support them to do the registration. And it's really impacted a lot of young people, old community members, children. They have programs. You have Saturday programs for children, and it's become a really one of the great model libraries for the country. We are at one point actually visited by a late ambassador to the US. He was like, really, this is a model to replicate countrywide. So it's also one of the many, and I was just wanted to share that technology also plays a role in bringing this difference in the community. Thank you very much. The contacts for Jifundishe is shared there, but also please, if you'd like to reach out, we are more than happy to share. We've had, I think, good experience also sharing with Ezekiel, and we're more than happy to share with others how this model can be replicated and how some of the learnings can be learned to really help other such community centers to really make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. That's fantastic, and definitely look forward to visiting the library, and I know Ezekiel is planning to do that. So Martin's shared some really good resources with me earlier. Martin, I don't know if you can just briefly tell people them, and if people have got questions, then please do keep putting them in the chat.
Sure, I'll just share a few links. Right. So this should be recorded, so you'll be able to have a copy of this, but our Pixl International website, YouTube, Iteta videos, they're bespoke videos made by expert teachers on past paper revision questions, and they're great. There's the website of Nectar, where you can download results for schools if you need to track their performance. And if anyone wants any guidance on how to track schools' performance using previous exam results, I'd be happy to go through that with them. And another great website is Maktaba by Tatea, which has all the past papers for each subject at primary and secondary. So I'd recommend those sites to you as well. Thanks, Janet.
Thank you, and I'll put the links to all of those when I circulate the recording and all of the slides. So if anyone, so there's a couple of questions about, seems like the connectivity and the cost is a bigger problem than the technology. Andrew, Catherine and Robert, would you agree with that?
So
okay. Go on, Catherine.
So I'll just touch base on the taxation. I think that's the thing that makes the connectivity even harder, because I think the question ends, can the government do something about it? I think if the taxation goes lower, then the mobile network operators can lower down the cost, because as soon as they get more tax, because the government thinks that they get more in terms of return on investment. But I think the situation is quite different on the ground, because the more the mobile network operators get taxed, the more the service goes up. Also for the side of devices, I think for us it was very hard before to import devices from Norway, where they were donated to come to Tanzania because of the taxation that we were given from the port. So I think it also is the issue of taxation, and when you buy them in Tanzania, already you have the value added tax. So the devices, it's just a taxation issue. So the government can do something about it. We had a lot of discussions around that. I'm not sure if there's any changes, but we are hoping for the best, I would say. Robert,
thank you.
Over to you.
I think I do agree totally with you, Catherine. I think if we really look at the whole of this, yes, even though private actors who are doing internet and all that, they all, if you go back to them, they go back to like, it's just we are being taxed too much for us to be able to make anything affordable. So whether we want to, and if there's a way of having a common voice for the government to recognize and be able to find a way. I understand. I think the challenge with them is they also, well, everyone would like to take the opportunity to jump on, like if we exempt on some things, or but they're actors, like Catherine, and what you're doing with the internet, you're really well known and all that. But they were also actors who are dealing with the equipment particularly, and they're exempted. Then all these costs would really significantly come down. I do agree, the taxes and of course, other costs, of course, if we could I think that we do have a lot of, maybe on the technology and the hardware part, they're really now quite affordable slightly, I wouldn't say that much, but quite affordable. So if also this technology, or maybe to say the expertise sometimes to put together these equipments, like when we're talking about loading content or something like that, and we're able to get other things, and then we can do. And if they are done locally, then it becomes a bit more cheaper than having to expect expertise from or maybe equipment being brought already configured, and that makes the cost a bit high. But if you can do it locally, and I believe we have expertise here. So those two things and taxes, I agree. And if there's a common sound or the common voice that can be really sounded and the government made to hear, and really exempt on these, that will totally make a big difference.
Yeah, so quickly, just the biggest success story we've had so far is we are able to talk to Vodacom Tanzania Foundation, and the SIM card that they provided for the schools to get bandwidth will not have are not under the commercial SIM cards. So this bandwidth will be affordable. They've created special SIM cards for these schools. And so the internet that pass through this bandwidth will be affordable. They will be buying it at a cheaper price. And they just create a special package that is an educational package for these schools. So they will not be buying as a normal consumer persons buy or any other corporate buy internet. They'll have a special way of buying bandwidth. So that's so far we've gotten with the discussion. And we're looking forward to at least get more, I think, discounts on the bandwidth. But the discussion is still ongoing, so fingers crossed. We have at least a common voice in terms of affordability. But so far, I would say it's been a long time coming.
Thank you, Catherine. We're almost out of time. I'm hoping that Alpha is able to unmute himself. Oh, brilliant. So Alpha is one of the teachers at Ikondo, which I showed earlier. So Alpha, would you like to say something about how you're using technology in Ikondo and any successes and challenges?
Thank you, Janet. Hi to everyone. Yes, as Janet has introduced me to you, I'm speaking right now from Ikondo Secondary School. I would like just to speak from my experience on the internet connectivity to our school. As teachers, we are furnished with various resources that was difficult to access area before the connectivity. So now we are getting resources, we are connected to the world. And sometimes now it's easy for us to see how other teachers are using various material to make them, to make the student pass the exam. But also the students now are being very active in lesson, using computers and projectors. So you see them active in lesson. Maybe one thing that I would like to add in the issue that has been raised by Catherine, the issue of monitoring and evaluation. Yes, we are connected with internet, but I think not all teachers are confident with the internet issues. So maybe if you find a way to visit those schools, like making a follow-up that all teachers are using the tools that are provided. Because we are changing slowly. Some of the also a problem in making evaluations, how we have been using the internet. So thank you for the good job you are doing.
Thank you, Alpha. And just to add that I know that you've been using your connection with your with joint work with the school that you're partnering with in the UK. And yes, also for regular meetings with the Pixl team about school leadership and
yeah,
so
for
on.
sure. I'm happy to see Martin. Yeah, very happy to see Martin, who used it to visit our school in 2017 with the Pixl issues, and we are very glad about the Pixl because we have been benefiting a lot from the evaluations from the Pixels. I can say that we are moving forward. I know Martin can say that Ikondo has been moving from a certain point to a very positive because of the techniques and opinions from the Pixl.
It's great to hear that feedback, Alpha. It's been wonderful working with you and your colleagues in your school over the years. Been some remarkable transformations. Well done.
Thank you, Malden.
Thank you, Alpha, and thank you, Martin, for all of your support. So there's a couple of quick questions that maybe we can do very quickly. So there was a question about how to connect to a Raspberry Pi, and I think maybe Catherine wants to add something, but basically you can connect to pretty much anything you want. I know that there are some quite cheap, more portable projectors. Catherine or Robert, do you want to add anything to that?
Projectors, I can say yes, we do try and get affordable projectors. Again, I think sometimes a big challenge with projectors is the lamps, which of course all projectors have a certain lamp life. So before we get that quite affordable with our, again, refurbished with our partners, and what we try and do is that we find that we ensure that they are local replacement lamps for them as well, so that in case it runs out, but also try and check like they have quite a substantive number of hours that are still left for its usage. So that's the one end we are trying, but I know there are a number of other innovative smaller lamps as well, projectors, smaller, which are portable. Sometimes the smaller it is, though, then normally they are not as bright, so you need a room to be much more darker. But also, so the varieties are available, and that will be helpful in that, yes. And also to the Raspberry Pi, as you're saying also, and I just want to add that is, yes, you can load almost everything. I think it's an issue of capacity, how much it can load. I think Raspberry Pi is much more less storage. I think they use the SD card, which normally you use in your SIM cards, on the different phones and some cameras. You get, sometimes though you can now find a bit, the camera ones, you can find a bit more bigger ones. But normally the others are in the 64 gigabytes and maybe to 128 in rare cases. So yeah, but we're also looking at those resources to be able to make sure the bigger we can get, the better, because the storage is an issue. But as I said, with Rachel server, they're a bit more costly, unfortunately, but they also can host, they have a bigger space and they have much more content. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then a final question from Sheila. How similar are the Tanzanian and Kenyan curricula, and is Kenya a useful source of learning materials? Any comments on that?
Yes, I would like to mention, as I said, we had the Kio Kit, which is actually a Kenyan-made company, and they also tried to collect a number of content that were relevant to the local curriculum. Yes, we found there were several, especially secondary school, similar or related curriculum. They are a bit more, Kenya, I would have to say, are a bit more advanced. They have a lot of stakeholders working. I've worked in the past with, they call themselves Computers for Schools Kenya, and they also like us import computers, but they work with the government really, and they get content also localized, they put into computers. They have a great support with the government. We wish we had the same here. I'm hoping at some point that will happen. But that also really leapfrogged them to a bit more advanced in that local content as well. But there are similarities, there are some differences. So I'll have to say, not very big, but yeah, in some areas. I've looked at secondary school, I haven't looked a lot in primary and higher levels, but to secondary, they were quite significant similarities. So there are areas that you can share our connections over there, that makes a difference as well. That will help as well. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, unfortunately, we're over time. So thank you everybody for joining. So we will be hopefully doing another session at some point. Certainly we will do another careers session for girls via Zoom, probably for International Women's Day next year, if not before. So if you're interested in getting involved in for your students or whatever to join anything like that, please follow us on Eventbrite or on the Tanzania Development Trust site. And thank you very much to all of the speakers and everyone for attending. Thank you.
Thank you too, Janet, for the coordination. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Janet. Bye bye.
Thanks.